Good evening and welcome to Realty Coffee Talk on Awaz Entertainment in Canada, around the world. Today is Canada Day. On behalf of Awaz Entertainment and Realty Coffee Talk, I wish all of you a happy Canada Day. Canada is a beautiful country. We made our home. Our forefathers have given sacrifices for us to enjoy the freedom that we have in democratic society in Canada today. We have to pledge and make commitment to make sure that we give back to Canada so we leave a better Canada for our future generation. Happy Canada Day. Today we're going to talk about good ethics and good business in real estate profession. It applies to all businesses, regardless of real estate, mortgage financing, or any business. Because we deal with consumers and they rely upon us to help them find the property. As you know, in Canada, particularly in Ontario, where we practice real estate, we are licensed by Real Estate Council of Ontario, a regulator appointed by the Ontario government to set up the program for education, registration, compliance, and consumer protection program. So there is a regulation is called Real Estate and Business Broker Act of 2002. It's book like this. It was amended recently 2019 under TRISA, Trust in Real Estate Services Act, improved. And we will expect to have more improvement coming in the future. We are dealing with properties, as you know, particularly in pandemic and in May, the prices has gone up for real estate. There are lots of competitive bidding going on, and many are disappointed buyers about how we conduct our business. And this is why it's very important for all of you to take time and read REBA regulation 580 section 05 code of conducts. It has section, it deals with many topics in real estate, not only about consumers, but also working with fellow registrant. Under the Real Estate Business Broker Act, normally we call them registrant. They are salesperson, brokers, real estate salesperson, or a realtor, or the broker or broker racket. In communication term, we are registered. We carry a license, and each of one of us, whether it's a salesperson, broker, we carry that license in a digital form on the phone. What is ethics? To conduct business in a honest manner, fair manner, with integrity. When we are trying to perform a service to consumer, and if the relationship breaks down, end up complaint against you, then you have to face Realty Council. There is a committee, the disciplinary committee, that hear the cases. RICO is very fair. If a consumer reach out to Realty Council, they have a complaint and compliance program under which a protocol is followed. I request all of you, whether you are a consumer or you are a registrant, real estate professional, go and read RECO, RECO.on.ca. We're going to talk about general complaint, some decision they're made. Those are all available on website, reco.on.ca. I will point out few sections of the Real Estate Business Broker Act, which is pertain to working within realtors, how we cooperate with each other. The Code of Conduct, Regulation 580.05, Section 3 talks about fairness and honesty. So I'm going to pull this file. I'm going to read you the code. What they're saying is when you are conducting a business among realtors, we are a big family. There are over 90,000 in Ontario and maybe over 128,000 across Canada. We're licensed within our jurisdiction and we cooperate with each other. Situation happens when cooperation within the brokerage, somebody will not follow this guideline. The other important section in the Code of Conduct is dealing with fellow registrant. And this is very, very important that you understand that. Section 7, when you are dealing with another realtor or registrant, and we're going to give you an example of that, how you have to be transparent and honest. If you know the client or realtor is working with a client and you bypass that person and you breach the RECO guideline, Section 7 of the Code of Conduct. And this is why it's very, very important that you pay attention and read this code. And dealing with other registrant. Okay, so we're going to talk about that. So Section 3 says a registrant shall treat every person the registrant deals with in the course of a trade in real estate fairly, honestly, with integrity. Ontario Regulation 580/03, Section 3. So this is very, very important. When we are dealing with this, we have a situation where somebody put an offer from a client and didn't go through, and subsequently the listing agent, in this case, will reach out to the client and make a deal. I do a multiple representation, knowing the fact that there was an offer from this person to this. And as you all know, most cases, the cooperating listing broker pays the cooperating broker. So sometimes you end up with signing a BRA saying that, okay, the listing guy will pay me the money. And what will happen? The listing guy wait for one time, 1 month, 2 months, whatever, intentionally, and deal directly with the buyer or create environment that somebody else do the deal. So idea is that you know the fact that this is the same property. You know the fact that this somebody has presenting an offer. They have a BRA. So this is where it says that, are you fair? Are you honest, maintaining your integrity? This is a very once in a while situation, not very common, but it does happen. So we have to demonstrate good ethics because we're all realtors. We are all self-employed. We all have to put food on the table for our family and children. So circumventing that, that extra dollars is not going to make anything better. It's create a situation where a client will feel that the people can bypass or contravene the regulation and be happy about it and nobody knows it. Truth always reveals itself. So this is very important for all of you to make sure that if you have a dealing with, most recently with a realtor or registrar or cooperating broker, that you go out and reach out to them. That your client is reaching out to me. Show some integrity. And that way you will feel the respect that you earn. And maybe, depending on the situation, your fellow real estate agent or broker will appreciate your just call and say, okay, go ahead and make the deal. You have done your part. Because I know we have a very, very professional realtors working in residential commercial industry, and they demonstrate a good ethics. But there are sometimes few that you experience. On the other side, what happens is when you do this, your client is a consumer or commercial will feel not so happy about it. Maybe you're going to give them some kickback, but they always have this, remember this, that means, oh, if this guy can do that to a fellow realtor, I will do, that means everybody do it. Remember, it takes thousands to do a good job to get recognized being a professional. But one bad apple can destroy the reputation of our profession. Here is two important things you have to remember. One is consumer interest. Who protect the consumer interest? Real Estate Council of Ontario on the behalf of Ontario government. By giving you the license to practice in real estate, they are bestowing that trust upon us. That we don't betray professionally consumer and fellow realtors. Because there are two different courses. If there are general complaints about a transaction which is not of ethical or breach of RIBA, or they're just administrative type, they will have a, we call resolved complaint. They try to moderate, to mitigate that, to help people to understand and compromise. But when it comes to ethical issue as a breach of the this RIBA code, then they take very serious disciplinary action. This section has 53 chapters, the Code of Conduct. And you can go, as a consumer, you can go to reco.on.ca and you can download Real Estate and Business Broker Act. You can download it. You can read it yourself. So most important thing is you must be licensed realtor or licensed salesperson or broker in order to practice in real estate. And obviously, you have to keep the best interest of your client. Number 4, conscientious and competent services as a registrant. I think number 2, fairness and honesty, I already explained to you already. Dealing with other registrant, section 7, I talk about that. We're going to say, I'm going to read you a content of that. The dealing with other registrant, if you haven't had a chance to read your RIBA, I recommend to all realtors, at least once a year, go back and read this section and the regulation. So it says section 7.1, a registrant who knows or ought to know that a person is a client of another Registrant shall communicate information to the person for the purpose of a trade in real estate only through the other registrant. That means that you know the other registrant has a client that you not to approach directly. You go through the registrant. Unless the otherwise registrant has given consent in writing. If I have a client and you know that I am dealing with it, then you bypass me, you are violating this Ontario Regulation 58005 Section 7.1. Similar applies to me. If you're listing, I cannot go out and solicit business with them. This is very, very important. Section 2, it says, if a broker or private person knows or ought to know that a buyer or seller is a party to an agreement in connection with the trade in real estate with the brokerage other than the brokerage that employs the broker or salesperson, the broker or the salesperson shall not induce the buyer or seller to break the agreement. Ontario Regulation 580, Section 7.2. So that means if a listing agreement has been signed, you just because of your relationship, you can't go out and induce the seller to break the agreement. That's a violation of Code 7 of REBA. So these are the ethics. They are regulated. These are part of it. Now, as I mentioned that Real Estate Council of Ontario is a regulator, and they are working on behalf of the government to protect consumer interest. And this is the law under which we operate. Then we have a Canadian Real Estate Association. They also have a professional code of conduct because they control all realtor trademark and MLS system across Canada. We have become member of it. It is not mandatory to become a member, but if you want to, you have to join Korea. Then we have Ontario Real Estate Association, which is a body and voice for all realtors in the province of Ontario. If you're a member of that, they be your voice. Then we have boards. I'm just going to pick the few boards. Toronto Regional Real Estate Board. If you want an MLS system, you join them, and their mandate is in order to join Toronto Regional Real Estate Board, you need to be a member of URI and Korea. Similarly, Mississauga Real Estate Board, just as a disclosure, I'm a broker of board director of Mississauga Real Estate Board. I'm a chair of education committee. But we all pay dues to URIA Korea. Each board, Ontario Real Estate Association, Canadian Real Estate Association, each one of them have their own professional code of conduct. This is what we call organized real estate. So we are bound by it. If sometime there is a breach of those conducts, most cases, if there is a mistake in MLS, you go back and correct that and work through it. Most dispute happens within the brokerage or commissions related. And those are arbitrated through the boards or whatever tool they have. There is a system for that. So anytime a ethic or bylaw or breach of this code of conduct, whether it's a Real Estate Council of Ontario, REBA, or organized real estate, there are disciplinary action take place. Depends on type of the conspiracy. So we are to avoid that. Temptations are there, especially when a client comes to us, we want to buy a property, they need to be educated. You need to be competent. You have to be honest. You have to be professional. And you have to be competent. Having a license doesn't mean anything if you don't continue to educate yourself. And you see how you can improve yourself. This is why it's very important to get some designation. I'm a fellow Real Estate Institute of Canada. I have 6, 7 designations because my passion is real estate. Your success is my priority. If you're a realtor or a consumer, I am there to help you. That's my commitment to my profession. You don't take your profession easily because this is the profession where you put food on the table. You deliver a valuable service. So when you are violating how these ethics and good practices work together, if you do a good job, you do a transaction, your client is happy, they give you a testimonial, they make you a referral, and your business grows. On the other hand, if you do some mistakes, you create an environment where your client or customer is not feeling comfortable. They feel that you have not helped them. There are small challenges. There are complicated or difficult challenges or conflicts. My best advice to you is that when there is an issue with the client, try to reach out to them. Tell them to be fair with me and let's resolve it. And I have reviewed many of the complaints the scene of Real Estate Council of Ontario, and I am so proud to say that our registrar is very keen on helping to resolve small complaints without going through a complicated disciplinary protocol. And they also listen to consumers, but sometimes things are alleged incorrectly, and Real Estate Council protect them because they are very fair and honest system they have. So I'm going to share a few things with you. You can go to reco.on.ca, complaints and decisions. You can go and find that out if you're a consumer. And also I recommend highly our fellow real estate professional in the province of Ontario because our license is in the province of Ontario. So I suggest to my friends that you, first of all, seek experience knowledge. Real Estate Institute of Canada has a good ethic, a course, which is very good. I recommend to you to spend small money and take that course. You will love it. It will guide you. Secondly, I want you to go to RECO site once in a while, review the decisions, complaints, so you understand what type of complaints our realtors are making, if there is a dispute, or there are consumers who are making. They receive thousands of complaints, and they they have a team that will deal with that. So I'm going to share with you few of the complaints that the consumer normally do it, and RECO help to resolve them. Because of the privacy law, there is no mention of name of a person. It's just a salesperson, seller, or buyer. So I read one. I'm going to read you one decision was made. Let's go back here in 2020. Salesperson was the complainant, and respondent was salesperson. June 25, 2020. Summary. The complainant felt that over a period of time and multiple interaction regarding trades in real estate, the respondent was not communicating professionally or respectfully. That means one agent is complaining about the other agent. It appears to be that he or she could be the listing and buyer may be approaching, and the respondent shared equal concern about the complaining person. That means both the buyer salesperson or the seller representative complaining about the same thing. Okay, so what agreement was reached? The parties agreed to resolve their differences and ensure that future communication with each other is done so with respect, professionalism, and sensitivity. That means we must cooperate with each other and respectfully and understand the sensitivity to understand what is the situation is. So the parties agreed to review RICO helps video series promoting professionalism, and for the record article, professionalism and leading by example. What a beautiful way of resolving a complaint between two fellow sale people. Kudos to Realty Council, creating this environment. Even dispute or issues about not respecting each other, they resolved it. It's not, they not went to disciplinary protocol, but they did it in a way that it resolved. So there was another complaint on June 25, 2020, a broker of record. I'm a broker of record. A broker of record, and he complained against a salesperson who is the respondent. The salesperson distributed flyers. Now, this, remember, I have a lot of videos about this. So I think we're going to take a break now. We're reaching a point. You are watching Realty Coffee Talk on Awaz Entertainment in Canada, around the world. We're going to take a short break and we'll come back and continue our conversation on Realty Coffee Talk. Good ethics is good business.
पाकिस्तान का सबसे मशहूर एक्स्ट्रा लॉन्ग ग्रेन मुगल बासमती राइस अवेलेबल इन बोथ व्हाइट एंड सिला. Home delivery is available subject to minimum order and radius. Also available at your neighborhood fresh co. मजीद मालूमात के लिए आज ही कांटेक्ट करें 5146630480 पर या ऑर्डर करें हमारे फेसबुक से. बनाएं ये रमजान और भी खास मुगल बासमती के साथ. द प्रीमियम चॉइस फॉर प्रीमियम टेस्ट. दो 2020 का लाजवाब ऑफर, जहां हम 0% फाइनेंसिंग पर आपकी मन पसंद कार दे रहे हैं, फ्री विंटर टायर्स, और साथ ही हम मुफ्त ऑयल चेंज भी दे रहे हैं, वो भी उम्र भर के लिए. अभी आएं और इस लाजवाब ऑफर का लुत्फ लें. जल्दी करें, आपका खुशामदीद हमारे आउटलेट में, जो कि 60 क्वींस प्लेट ड्राइव at intersection close to Highway 27 and Rexdale opposite to Woodbine Racetrack. जल्द से जल्द इस ऑफर का लुत्फ लें. आज ही कॉल करें सुनील अग्रवाल को 647-703-0218. देखिए खेल की आवाज हर पीर शाम 7 बजे. आज की बात समीना जबीन के साथ हर मंगल रात 8 बजे. इस्लाम इन मॉडर्न टाइम हर मंगल और जुमा शाम 6 बजे. कनेडियन मोज़ेक हर बुध रात 8 बजे. रियलिटी कॉफी टॉक हर जुमेरात शाम 7 बजे. टुनाइट टॉक हर जुमा शाम 7 बजे. देखिए तकरार, कीजिए तकरार समीना जबीन के साथ हर रोज रात 9 बजे और रिपीट सुबह 9 बजे. आप देख रहे हैं आवाज एंटरटेनमेंट, आवाज आपकी, चैनल हमारा. जुड़िए हमसे.
KK Travel believe in providing everyone the first class customer service. We take care not only for your air ticket but dignity and respect as well. We are available for you anytime on WhatsApp, even while you are in Pakistan or any other destination. KK Travels guarantee lowest prices and are open to price match any airline.
We are KK Travels under supervision of Gas Khan at 905-367-9433 or visit www.gaskhontravels.com.
Good evening and welcome to Realty Coffee Talk on Awaz Entertainment in Canada, around the world. Happy Canada Day. Today we are talking about good ethics and good ethics equals good business. So last time before the break, we were talking about a broker of record complaining about a salesperson. The summary of that is that the salesperson distributed flyers in error with her old brokerage information during the pandemic, causing concern for residents. The salesperson apologized for her error and destroyed the flyers. So, in accordance with the Real Estate Business Broker Act, you can only be employee of one brokerage. When you move from one brokerage to another brokerage, you cannot use that old information. So the broker record complained that because he or she is a complying officer under the law, because you cannot distribute previous flyers because you have joined. So this was the agreement. Here's another case. These cases are available on Real Estate Council website, reco.on.ca. And these are real estate related, and I'm going to show you some other consumer complaint. These are smaller ones which are complaint that has been resolved without any disciplinary action. If something is serious, it harms a consumer trust and breach of agreement, our Business Broker Act, REBA 2002, then you will see that the council will take very serious action. So this complaint was a seller. A seller complained about seller's agent. That means the listing agent about him, June 19 to 2020. I give you the summary. Prior to signing an amendment to the agreement of purchase and sale, the seller asked the seller's agent for clarification on what effect agreeing to the amendment would have on the total amount of commission paid. So they're asking us, if you are amending this agreement, what effect it will have on the commission. The seller representative mistakenly gave the wrong information and failed to check accuracy, and which resulted in the seller paying an additional $100 in commission as a result. So basically that amendment was being made. With that amendment, it affected the commission about $100. But the seller asked the agent to check that out, but he or she did not pay attention or mistakenly giving him or her information, and they end up paying $100 more. So the seller's agent offered to pay back the additional amount. See, small mistake, error. This could have been done by the agent before he got that to a level that the real estate council get involved, because it wastes of time. For real estate council, there are more serious things to do. But this particular decision tell you that the RECO is a consumer protection agency. So if you know that you made a mistake, solve it. Don't make it to the level where it become a complaint. So I'm going to find out a complaint, another one. Just give an example for the different type. Seller, buyer representative. So now seller is complaining about buyer representative. So this is July 3, 2020. The buyer representative and his client viewed the seller's property without wearing appropriate personal protective equipment. You know, because of COVID, we have guidelines. We have to wear mask, not to touch too many things there. Use sanitizer, because most of the sellers are putting gloves there, mask there, sanitizer there. So the buyer representative and his client viewed the property. Okay. So the buyer representative apologized for his conduct and made a donation to a charity of his seller's choice. You see that? Professional, he made a mistake. and he recognized that. That's very honorable when you make mistake and you recognize it. Then he went beyond that. He gave donation to some amount to the Seller's Choice charity. That's good. But it could have been avoided. Remember how much we are locked down in Ontario? We have been locked down for months and now easing up in stage 2 today on Happy Canada Day. But we have to be responsible. How many times Real Estate Council, how many times Korea, Uriya, our board, Mississauga Real Estate Board, Toronto Regional Real Estate Board, everybody saying, please wear masks, follow port safety, health guidelines, all this stuff. And still mistakes happen. If generally done and people, and I'm hoping that nothing happened after that or everything was okay. So this is another complaint. And this was resolved. These are resolved complaint without going too further. Third party service provider complaint, seller representative. So third party is involved and they're complaining about seller representative means selling agent. July 16, 2020. What was the complaint? Summary. A home stager was hired by the seller's representative and provided the agreed upon services but did not receive payment from the seller's representative. So remember when people are soliciting, give me the listing, I will do this and I will do that for it. And in this case, the stager was hired, maybe the seller agent said, I will provide the stager services. Sometimes they charge $400 or $500. So she or he delivered the services, but were not paid. And that party went to RICO, Real Estate Council of Ontario. And what happened? The seller representative took steps to make the payment and offer an apology. So in this case, a staging company performed a service at the request of the seller representative, didn't get paid. They went to the RICO. RICO have a conversation with how the protocol is, and the real estate agent agreed and paid that money plus apologized. So you can see that. Consumer, you guys feel good. Your regulator is doing a tremendous job. They're keeping everybody in line to make sure they're complying with regulation because they are protected agency. I have the opportunity to conversation with the registrar. He's amazing. I'm very proud that he is our registrar, Joseph Recker, because he's an amazing person. You write to him, he has a program, Ask the Joe, and you write to him, believe me, he at midnight sometime he will reply to you. That's how consumers should feel very proud that you have such a very competent, professional, and passionate team of real estate counsel. They will protect you, they will guide you, provided that is a honest alleging, when you're alleging some complaint is a genuine case. Just don't misuse or waste people's time if something that you can solve. The best thing for realtors and for the consumer is to sort it out, discuss it. Believe me, it's not worth going through all the headache if we have some complaints where we can resolve the issue by meeting with each other. So I'm going to talk about, okay, sellers, buyers, another one. Seller complained about a buyer agent on 31st July 2020. The buyer representative drove a vehicle over the seller's property, specifically the septic tank. You know how dangerous that is? So seller complained, the buyer agent who was showing the property, probably in the rural area, the buyer drove a vehicle over the seller's septic tank. Maybe he thought that he drove the car, he walked away and nobody knows about it. Maybe he left some wheel track on the septic tank because there's normally you have a grass there. The buyer representative apologized and compensated the seller. So he got caught. You know, we all have cameras now. If you are going to buy a property, and sometime if you are in a rural area, there are security cameras everywhere, and it can be recorded. So be careful when you are talking to consumer. You're making promises. You are doing things for. Here's another. Before we end the program, I'm going to give you another. A seller complained about seller's representative. This happened May 10, 2019. The party signed a listing agreement in which the seller would pay a lower commission if the seller represent buyer through multiple representation. You know, when you are buying and selling together, we always put in the agreement, so we'll give you a discount because we are the one who are listing and we're also selling. Although the transaction closed via multiple representation, that means one brokerage representing buyer and seller, the seller was still charged the full commission. In the listing agreement, there is a full commission, 4%, 5%, or whatever the commission you agreed. It also says how much they're going to give to the cooperative broker. If the cooperative broker is not involved, you are liable to pay the full commission. The best thing you got to do is, if you are negotiating an agreement, in this case, you write down, attach a Schedule A, put in Schedule A, that in case of a multiple representation, we will reduce the commission to a certain amount. So even though they have this agreement, seller was still charged the commission. First of all, it should have caught when you're sending the invoice. We send a listing agent, send a brokerage, send invoice to the seller's lawyer. At that time, the lawyer should have asked a copy of the listing agreement to confirm the commission shown on the invoice. This would have been avoided, but it didn't. So then, what agreement was reached? The seller's representative reimbursed the seller for the difference in commission. So because it was in writing, black and white, so brokerage, seller, agent have no choice to reimburse that. First of all, in this case, I would say the broker of record should have, before sending the invoice, should have reviewed the trade record file, look at the listing agreement. When I have a transaction, from A to Z, I check. We have a checklist. We look at every step of the day to make sure all steps have been completed before invoice is sent out. But in this case, the seller agent returned the money, or brokerage, because maybe the commission was already paid. So therefore, the agent has to pay to the reimburse to the seller. So these are the few small things I mentioned. In our next episode, we'll talk about more sophisticated and difficult challenges where fines will be made. And also the biggest challenge will happen is when you have, because Real Estate Council of Ontario is a consumer protection agency, and when you give trust deposit to the real estate brokerage to deposit that money, put it in a real estate account, trust account, under Section 27 of the Real Estate Business Broker Act, that money cannot leave. There's three ways of leaving the money. Number one, transaction. If you buy a property, you gave it $50,000 deposit, that money stay in the real estate trust account that is designated under REBA, Section 27. Nobody can draw the money. Only three reasons will happen. Three way. Number one, transaction satisfactorily completed. Lawyer send you a notification the transaction has been completed. You talk to your client, yes, it's been completed, I got paid. they give you a letter, certificate of completion card. In case of a terms and condition of the agreement of purchase and sale did not fulfill, the buyer decided not to proceed with it, they will send you a mutual release document, which is signed by the seller, signed by the buyer, signed by the listing brokers, signed by the cooperating broker, and then money, once is executed, the money is released from the real estate trust account, and then business goes on. Third is, if there is a default, breach of contract, no agreement has been reached between buyer and seller in terms of mutual release or listing broker or cooperative broker, then it goes to the court of law. When the court give a verdict, release the money, whoever the party they say, then we are releasing their money to the party. I have in my account a deal going on since 2018, over 3 years, no decision because of COVID, things are bad, money is still sitting in trust account. So this is just a general view of issues. If we follow good ethics, morals, we be honest and professional, and maintain our integrity and professionalism, promote awareness, educate consumer as well as our fellow realtors. Therefore, we have less and less complaint and we have more good business ethics. Your business grow, your rapport, your reputation will grow. People recommend you. And this is how good ethic is a good business. Thank you for watching Realty Coffee Talk on Awaz Entertainment. My name is Tahir Qureshi. I take this opportunity to wish all of you a happy Canada Day. I also, on behalf of Realty Coffee Talk and Awaz Entertainment, thank you to our doctors, nurses, health staff, paramedic, police, security forces, armed forces, for their dedication, commitment. We salute you for your dedication, commitment to protect our fellow Canadian. May God bless you all. May God bless Canada. Bye for now. Happy Canada Day from Realty Coffee Talk. We'll see you next Thursday at 7 p.m. Thank you. Bye for now.